West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is on there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like the breeze.
Yes guys, it's getting so close now and it's so exciting. We're just on the cusp of finally getting Fallout 76. Ever since its announcement just before E3 this year, we've been excited to see what Bethesda has to offer with their newest installment and the new direction they're taking with the series. Another beautiful game is on its way from what we can see, so today we're going to look at everything we know about Fallout 76.
Miner's lady, stranger to blue water.
Well guys, welcome to the Geek Box. As I said in the intro there, today we're going to be looking at everything we know about Fallout 76. Now I'm going to try and keep this brief as, well, I recorded the video with everything I knew in a bit more detail before, and it was coming up to nearly an hour, and well, I'm sure you guys don't have to sit there for an hour just listening to me talk, but let's cover the basics with it. So, obviously starting off, the game is set in West Virginia, which was something that had been rumoured for quite a while about the game anyway, but was confirmed when the trailer landed, obviously using country roads, which obviously is about West Virginia, confirming everybody's thoughts, and the fact that we know that we were looking at Vault 76 the moment they announced the game, obviously because of the name, and Vault 76 being previously mentioned in Fallout 3 and 4, we already had some information about it. Now obviously for the vault itself, we know from previous games it was a vault that was designed to hold 500 people of the brightest minds and of the brightest futures, and unlike the other vaults that they had which were experiments, this was a control vault, so it was designed to actually protect people and prepare them for the wasteland. Now as we've learned since the early information of the game, see, the people are supposed to basically grow in the vault, learn skills, and their job is to go out and repopulate and rebuild America. Obviously the vault was originally designed to open 20 years after the bombs fell, which was 2077, so they would come out in 2097, but the game was set in 2102, so 5 years later instead. Obviously we'll see if this is a lore lapse or if Bethesda have actually got an explanation they're putting within the game itself. Obviously there's already been a few little discrepancies, like in Fallout 3 it describes the Overseer as actually being a mother-based computer, whereas what we've seen from the new gameplay in the beta, it obviously seems that it's actually a person themselves with their own mission in the wasteland, which I'm sure will tie into the storyline. Now obviously the big twist that they've put into this game is it is a multiplayer Fallout game. Some people are thrilled about that, some people are not so thrilled. Honestly for me, when it first came to, I was a bit because I love the single player experience of the Fallout games. I have basically a minor obsession with the Fallout games, as anyone who's watched my channel knows. Obviously the game is going to be different because of that aspect, but the two main things to cover there is, one, to say quickly, there will be a single player campaign within the game. Now a lot of people thought there wouldn't be because of this, but the servers are going to hold about 36 to, I think sits with that, they said originally 24 to 36, but obviously it's going to look for full servers, so 36, and the map's going to be 4 times the size of what it was in Fallout 4, so you're not really going to run into other people all that often. Obviously another issue that people had there is the player versus player element. Now they've actually done quite a good way of doing this. The griefing system makes the player versus player element work. For a start, you can't enter player versus player until you're level 5. Now obviously this allows people to get in the game and get involved. They can't get camped out at Vault 76, so people have to actually play the game. Then when you do get to that level, you've got a multiple option thing. If somebody shoots you, then basically you can then have the 3 options. You can run away, and that's that. You can fight back. The moment you fight back, both of you receive full damage, as the first shots that are fired until it's actually a battle only do partial damage. As they described it when Todd Howard said about it, it was more of a slap for a duel than actually starting a fight. Now moving on from that, you can then choose not to fight back if you'd like, and if the person proceeds to then keep hunting you and hurting you until you are killed, they'll be marked as a murderer. They'll appear on everyone's map with a big red star, and they will basically have a bounty on their head. that comes out of their caps. So if you're going to try and kill people that don't want to fight back, be prepared to be hunted down by a lot of other people. Also, the advantage, if you do take part in player versus player and you lose, you actually have a chance of getting double the rewards by finding that person and killing them. Obviously, the thing with doing a revenge kill is it's a massive map, it's just one person, so you're going to have to search far and wide to actually find them. But also imagine the feeling must be quite sweet when you actually do pull that off. Obviously, as we've already said, the game is set in West Virginia. There's a reason they chose West Virginia, apart from it's already got its own lore. It's a beautiful place. In real life, West Virginia has its own lore as well. Obviously, probably the most famous one I would say is the Mothman, right the way down to having its own statue. And the Mothman will be in Fallout 76. I don't know what element it will be yet, but it will be in there. See, one of the things as well is that there's a lot of very famous buildings in there, and you've got like you've got the Briar over there, you've got all this different things like the New Gorge River, Woodburn Castle, and they put them all in there. So from an exploring point of view, it's pretty awesome that they've got that much in there. But then again, I don't expect anything less from Bethesda. Obviously, going through these environments, it will allow you to have a great environment to work in. But, as I said, part of your mission is to rebuild America. Now, those that played Fallout 4 will be very familiar with the settlement building. Well, in Vault 76, they give you a camp set. Now, the camp set allows you to go and build your own settlements anywhere, which is a really cool twist, I think. You can pretty much go anywhere and start building your own encampment. And you can save your buildings, which adds into the anti-griefing, because then if somebody decides to destroy what you've got, you can just go and rebuild it somewhere else. You've got the blueprints, so you can copy exactly as it was, and you're going to have more detail as well. What they've shown is you can put all sorts into your place, so you can have your pools in there, you can have a pool table, you can then put all your special chairs in there and put this and that in there and really build yourself a home instead of just these wooden concrete basics and that they had in Fallout 4. And obviously another thing that centers around this with both just the multiplayer and the single player is there will be events in the game as well. So there's certain events, they've shown a couple of examples. Some of them are hunting down certain creatures and some of them are actually building certain things in your camp, so it all ties in really well. And another big thing they've put into it that people did freak out about, I think, when they saw it, is nukes. Now, first thing I think that needs to be said about the nukes is you can't get nukes until you get to a high level in the game anyway, like towards the end of the game. Now, the nukes are not going to be easy to get. You have to get 5 keys, which are spread all over the place. Then you have to infiltrate through a load of dangerous enemies to get a nuke. Then you can get the nuke, and wherever you drop the nuke, it then creates a highly irradiated area, which will give you legendary gear, loot, etc. But you also have to fight a lot of legendary creatures to get there. Now, the nukes don't just have that purpose. Throughout the game, there are places called fissures in the game, basically like cracks in the ground, where special and very deadly enemies come from. One that's been shown quite often already is the Scorched Bat. Now, the point is, the nukes are there to destroy the fissures and seal away what's there. So it's not just some random thing that you can just drop wherever fun. There are set places you have to drop the nukes, so don't worry about other players that might drop nukes on your camp on purpose to try and damage you, because, as I said, set places for the nukes, and the camp allows you to blueprint everything, so if your base does get destroyed, you can pick it up, take it somewhere else. But I think overall they've shaped something really great here with the mixture of anti-griefing and still keeping that Fallout experience. Obviously, we've already seen that there's no human NPCs in the game because all the humans are played by players, but there are robots, terminals, notices, etc. that give you missions. See, the reason they give you these missions isn't just to send you around for random rewards, it's that still there is a main story. Now, I'll give them credit, the fact that the main story is very well hidden. I have my own personal belief that the main story actually is tied into what the Overseer of Vault 76's mission is, because, and I'll skip forward about a minute if you don't want to hear this bit, because I think it might be a bit of a spoiler, but they've already shown on the console for the Overseer that her mission is to make sure that nobody can get the nuclear warheads because they want to secure them for Vault-Tec. And they also instruct her, don't let anybody get in your way, so army, whoever you like. Now, I think this is going to be a shaping point into what the main story actually goes down. Obviously, it could be completely wrong, I'm only throwing stones here, but it just seems like that information is a bit too convenient right at the beginning of the game to give you a heads up, and it's a very Bethesda thing to do. So, that's my thoughts on that anyhow. Obviously, one of the other things that's changed in the game as well is the way you level up. Now, originally leveling up, you got experience, you leveled up, you picked perks, that was that. Specials were picked at the start of the game, that was that. Well, on this one now, when you level up, the first few levels, every 2 levels that you level up, you get to pick a card. Now your cards are your perks. Your perks are related to what thing you choose off special. So the example they first gave, if you choose strength, you get a couple of cards available. If you pick the card for barbarian, then you get extra melee damage. So you can build up a custom character through this measure. It's kind of cool the way they've done this in 2 ways. One, you can pick the card more than once, so you can focus on a certain element of building your character up. So if you want specifically a stealth character, specifically a melee character, specifically a character who gets through issues using their mind more than using weapons, you can shape your character to that element. Where this also allows you to flex is the fact that you can actually change these cards mid-game. Now, if you're in a team, for example, you could then assign roles. The example is you could train yourself in as a medic, for example. You can make yourself more of a support person in your team. You can make yourself the heavy gunner in your team, and you can shape your team like that. Allowing yourself to change the cards then means, say you switch into playing by yourself the next day, you can switch cards over to suit that instead. You have a more even character, and there are perks that are specifically designed for multiplayer or for single player. Obviously, another thing that obviously shapes Fallout so much is the creatures that come along with the wasteland. Now, obviously, whatever mode you're on, you're going to come across a lot of creatures, and because it's only 25 years after the bombs fell, not 150 or 200 like in the other games, then you will find yourself facing different elements. For a start, there's a lot of radiation available, and you're going to soak it up non-stop, and we're going to get something else with that in a moment. But first of all, you'll see new creatures, and a lot of them are massive because they're fresh. They've just absorbed all this huge radiation that's come from the bombs and grown into something else. And they're creatures you won't see in other games before, because the foldover that they gave from Bethesda is a lot of these creatures probably would have died from that radiation before the other games started anyway. But whatever works for them excuse wise. But you'll see a whole lot of things, like I mentioned the Scorched map before. You got like a giant Scorched toad as well. Obviously, I think Scorched is going to be a big element in it, and obviously that leads on to one of the main changes they've done with the enemy. Now, there will be ghouls in the game, and there will be the first of the super mutants in the game. How they've gone into that, I'm waiting to see, because it doesn't quite match up the timeline of when the Master built his army. But it also leads into the Scorched, which are a new enemy in the game, which is a half ghoul, half raider mixture. Obviously, the raider gangs that haven't had a chance to develop at this point, so we get the Scorched instead. Now, the Scorched are people that have been burned heavily and affected by the radiation, but haven't actually turned into ghouls yet. And the part of it's supposed to be it creates random and erratic feelings and kind of turns them animalistic, but they can still use guns and knives and pipes and that. So what you're looking at is, imagine a ghoul that can still use a weapon. Now, if you've played the other Fallout games and you fought the ghouls, you can know this is not going to be the most pleasant thing to come across. But I'm quite intrigued to see how they're going to blend that into the game and really change the level up of who's in what and how. But there's so much mystery still behind that as part of the excitement of the game coming forwards. Also, weapons are another thing that is a big thing in the Fallout series. There's been some amazing weapons in the Fallout games, and this is no exception. Obviously, they've got the old classics coming in, but they've actually got some licensing this time weapons, so you will see an MG42, actually by name as well. They've got the black powder pistol, which is a musket ball pistol that was shown in the demo being used against somebody who called themselves P. Garvey. and I'm sure there'll be loads more new weapons and lots more modifications than we saw in Fallout 4, so it'll be cool to see all the different customizations that people do come up with. Now, obviously another thing people asked about, which they always ask about with Bethesda games now, are we going to get mods and are there going to be private servers? Well, yes and yes. Mods will be coming, we don't know when, but they are on the way. Obviously mods are a lot more difficult to organise for an online game like this. Private servers will also be coming, but there'll be more details coming to how the private servers are going to actually work. So there may be some sort of cost involved there, either on our end or Bethesda's end, but we're waiting to see. And obviously the last thing that really brings the Wasteland together, which is a big thing for me in the Fallout games, is music. Now, for me, the music in Fallout games sets the atmosphere. Every time the music's just perfect for that game. I expect Vault 76 to be no different. So we're going to see old classics like I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire, Butcher Pete and that coming back, but we've also got new songs like Country Roads is going to be in, obviously, as the main theme of the game, and apparently there's a whole new host of songs that have been added in, so I'm quite excited to see what's coming with that. I haven't really delved into it that much myself, because music's one of the things I like to see in the game when I first get it. It's one of the excitement points for me, what music they add into it and what it adds to the feel of the game overall. But that's just another great element of Fallout, isn't it? So obviously the only other thing is, because of the way it's being built online, the DLC content will be free. It will be always available straight away, and obviously because everybody who have the DLC allows the servers to carry on working the way they do, so people aren't missing content, and it will just shape the world differently. There'll be new weapons available, there'll probably be new quests that are coming in as well. Obviously I imagine very similar to the vein of how they've done Elder Scrolls Online, so there will be a lot of free DLC content coming over the next few years. See, the focus is the one team working on that, whilst there's another team working on Fallout 5, which they've already pretty let slip, so we'll see what comes through. But at the moment, that's everything we've seen in basics for Fallout 76. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and learned something new today, and if you got any thoughts and comments, and well, drop anything in the comments, but I'd love to know what you guys think of how Fallout's going to be. I know it's divided the opinions of people quite a bit. I personally, I'm very excited for the game coming out. I absolutely can't wait to get my hands on the copy at midnight. So, as always, thanks for joining, and I'll see you out there.